Right guys, you're a Sony user, you've got the Sony Alpha 6000, 5000, whichever range it is you've got. You're looking for a zoom lens and you've been considering either getting the 18-105 or the, I don't know, 18-135. It may have even crossed your mind to spend a little bit more and get that 16-70 that everyone says isn't that good. And then you kind of just gave up and you went, ugh, you know what? Doesn't seem to be any decent lenses out there. Well, that's kind of where I had been going as well, and in actual fact some of those lenses are pretty good. They're also pretty expensive considering the Canon counterparts. And then that crossed my mind, I was like, hold up, and I went and bought this, the Sigma MC-11 converter for Canon lenses to Sony E-mount. Let's find out how I got on. Pretty crazy how you know what, using non-branded lenses or accessories on your camera always feels a little bit wrong, and I must admit a lot of the Sony gear is pretty sharp, pretty decent, but you know what, one of the best lenses I've got and used full stop is the Sigma 30mm f1.4. That is a super sharp lens, and I've been using it on my Sony A6500, and you know what, I then felt, well, a little bit better about getting this converter, because I thought, you know what, I'm gonna open up a different range of lenses, both Sigma and Canon lenses onto my Sony camera, but it also means that if I do buy any more lenses or use my current lenses, it means if I do, for whatever reason, change away from Sony in the future, any lenses via this one are going to be fully portable, and that just makes it feel a little bit better. But here's the thing, we sometimes forget how small these little mirrorless cameras are, and you know, they are small, but they're not that much smaller. But let me give you a little comparison. Here is the Sony Kit Lens. It's the 16-50. It's quite average, but the most important thing about it is portability. And if you just want to take out a little mirrorless camera, decent size sensor, and you know, you can slip it in your man bag or whatever, this is really portable. This is what happens when you whip on the old MC-11 and use the Canon Lens 24-105. Look at this bad boy. And just for comparison, this is where the kit lens would have been. In fairness, the adapter isn't that much smaller, so you can see it's a bit of a beast, and this lens is pretty heavy as well, so it feels a little bit more, I don't want to say use the term pro because that's not necessarily true, but definitely feels a little bit more serious, and probably not the best travel kit, but certainly does mean I get to use this nice lens again, and that I am thankful. Now let's address some of the more serious topics, and that is, does it actually work? Now the Sigma MC-11 states that it can pretty much work with most of their Sigma lenses, however it doesn't state officially about any of the Canon lenses, and I was a little bit skeptical about the performance on this one, so I took a gamble. The good news is when it comes to focusing using photography mode, it seems to be working really well. I found the focus to be pretty decent, and that's using the focus inbuilt. Now I flicked over to video mode, and that's kind of where it stopped. It wouldn't let me do continuous autofocus. I can click the button, get in focus, all good, and it's going to stay there, and that's a little bit upsetting because obviously I mainly do videos. I do take photos, and this will be good for that. So my next step is to see whether there's any updates on this adapter. It does actually have a USB point on it that I can plug in and update the firmware, so that's my next step, and then I'm going to see whether that changes anything, because not many people have made videos about trying to do this sort of thing on the A6500, and I felt like I needed to share my experience with you guys and, you know, tell you the truth, because I saw one video where someone's going, oh yeah, I've tried all of these 10 lenses, they didn't show any of the lenses, they didn't show you what camera they used, they said, oh yeah, performance is great, it didn't work on 2 of the lenses, but great for what? And you know, I don't know, let's turn this on. First we've got this set up for here. If I click onto it, I can go into continuous autofocus mode. And we can see if I hold the button down, it's doing that. I can click. If I focus up there, click the button, that's focused in. Click again. You can see that's working. However, if I go over here, select video mode, you can see when I click on here, that focus mode invalid with this lens. So I can't actually use any focus, or what I have to do is, if I zoom in, so now in video mode, if I turn this on, I'm going to have to switch the lens over to manual mode, and then I can start focusing in there. The other option I can do is if I switch it back into auto, when I come here, if I click the button up here to focus, there's a little bit more focus hunting in this mode. It does eventually find it. Yeah. So you can see for some reason the video mode just doesn't work as you'd expect. So to conclude, is the MC-11 worth it? Is it a viable option for you guys? Well, if you're into photography, then I would say yes, it's going to open up access to a lot of your lenses if you already have them, or give you the opportunity to use other lenses, which is kind of why I wanted to get it in the first place. However, if you're into videography and you're planning to use this run and gun style, i.e. you're going to be using autofocus on the camera, in which case I'm using the Sony A6500, then I'm going to have to say probably best to avoid it. And that's a little bit of a disappointment to myself, because you know what, that's the main reason I got it for, so I could buy a few new lenses that were perfect for video. However, they're no longer perfect, and as I checked in the manual for the MC-11, it actually states for autofocus on video you're going to have to flick to manual mode, and that for me is simply not acceptable. So there we have it, guys. I've just had to refilm this outro because, you know what, I was hoping with a quick update I would be able to use the lens as per a few other videos have suggested. However, it does appear, well, specifically in the manual, that you can't do that, and very upsetting. So hard truth, but let's save yourself some money. Don't buy this adapter if you're doing video work unless you're planning to use it in manual mode only. And on that note, guys, take it easy. I'm going to wrap it up. Hope you have a great week. Leave us a comment below if you've used this adapter, what lenses you're using it with, and let us know how you're getting on. Has it worked for you? Take it easy. Peace.